Chairman Kinsey, members of the board, you each have a red folder that's going around to you with my full TEKS recommendations and an exhaustive works-cited document. The proposal includes, but not limited to, teaching Middle Eastern history, comparative governance, and modern human rights challenges. My name is Carrie Smith. Today is my birthday, and I'm not here on my birthday because I love government buildings. I'm here because I love this country and I believe our children deserve truth. I have Jewish ancestry, and I've spent 13 years in public policy, including 5 years as a chief of staff in the Texas Senate. This is my first time testifying because the urgency to revise the Social Studies TEKS demands it. Global antisemitism is up 340% since 2022, the highest since the Holocaust. 1/3 of Gen Z defended Hamas after October 7th. Only 18% of young adults say they're proud to be American, according to 2023 Pew Research studies. Where are they learning this? Social media and on Texas college campuses, where groups tied to the Muslim Brotherhood spread messages like, "Gas the Jews, we owe Germany an apology, from the river to the sea." Meanwhile, under Islamist regimes today, Christians, Jews, reformers, women, and dissenters are persecuted and killed. This isn't about Muslims. Most are peaceful. This is about Islamism, the belief that Islam should govern law, politics, and society. Pew estimates 400 million Muslims worldwide, the population of the US and Canada combined, hold this view. In a 1991 memo uncovered by the FBI, the Muslim Brotherhood wrote their mission was a kind of grand jihad to eliminate and destroy Western civilization from within. Dr. Mark Oppenheimer of Washington University warned, some students turn to TikTok or Instagram for understanding of a complex geopolitical situation. That doesn't make them bad, it means we failed them. We can fix that, starting here. I will drive to each of your districts to meet. I'll move my schedule, I'll move mountains, because this matters that much. The cost of silence is a generation unprepared to defend the freedoms we were handed.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Let's not be the ones who let that happen. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Member Pickering?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Smith, are you with an organization or are you here on your own?
I'm here on my own.
Okay. And are you a teacher?
No, ma'am, but all my siblings are.
Oh.
I have four that are teachers.
Okay. And then your research is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, good job. And thank you for testifying today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
I look forward to hopefully meeting with you.
Chairman, I have a question before she
Member
goes.
Francis.
Thank you, Chairman. Ma'am, I'm over here. Could you say if you had any specific, and I apologize, I have not had time to go over your red folder here, but did you have any specific examples or suggestions for the board as it relates to how you think we should structure social studies?
Yes, so I did break this up into 5 parts, and I'm not an expert in the education field. I have been in public policy for a while, so I did my best. I did separate this by world geography and world history. You know, I did notice that we do not really do a good job at showing contrasts between Western governance and theocratic regimes. There's a lot of kids and adults that don't understand what life is like underneath Islamism, what Islamism is, what a caliphate is, what a global caliphate is. So there's certain definitions I think that our students need to understand, such as religious supremacy, dhimmi, martyrdom, infidel. That's all very important because they are hearing this stuff on college campuses and they don't understand what they're actually supporting. You know, this isn't a political thing. I think it's just giving them the ability to understand what it is they're, protesting, or, just giving them the facts instead of propaganda spreading. I also included Islamic expansionism. We don't talk about that and how that led to the First Crusades in Middle Eastern history, how long that lasted and how that impacted society and Western world and the Middle East as a whole, and how that ties into today with modern extremism, with terrorism. They pull those thoughts from Islamic expansionism back in the medieval period and prior to that. So you'll see a lot of their texts like jihadism that actually comes from, Muhammad on for 1,000 years, that they want to go back to the original Muslim caliphate. And we do not cover that today in Texas classrooms. The last one is also, why is border security important? There was thousands of terrorists that entered our borders, and, just letting them understand why that's important, why assimilation is important, and having a legal process in place.
Well, as someone who represents district on the U.S.-Mexico border, I do appreciate your sentiments there. That is missing, that's for sure. We've had a crash course on the U.S.-Mexico border in my district for quite some time. Thankfully, that has been much improved
Yes.
of late. Other than the Islamic influences that you're talking about, is there any other group or global group that you think that our kids need to understand, need to know about? Because I know you sort of zoned in on one group. Is there anything else?
Yes, I do include the CCP and other, authoritarian regimes. I really am focusing on Islamism because of their goal of expansionism and non-assimilation. So yes, I did include what is life like under the CCP and what is religious oppression look like there and why they do it, because it's not just Christians that they oppress Muslims as well. Just to understand what life is like under the CCP and how they are, conducting propaganda warfare. We're in a modern society, and unfortunately, social media and the internet has done great things for the world, but it's also created a system that we now have to fight. And if we don't teach our kids first, then they're going to cling on to what these other governments are pushing out. And that's where, I would love to share the study with these statistics that I got. It was really astounding to me and shocking. They're really pushing this agenda to dissolve America from within. And so the 18%, not being proud to be American or being ashamed of our country, that's something we should really be fearful of across the board, because history teaches us when that happens, Civil War and Revolution happens and about 50 years after that. So we should definitely teach this.
That is true. I wasn't able to find where you're talking about CCP. Which page was that on?
That. In the first page. Okay. Yes. So on page 1, under cultural systems and civilizations, it is the second bullet point.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. And just lastly, just to your point about, being proud to be, an American, I say every time, I sing the national anthem or I recite or pledge, it's just an emotional moment. And I cannot fathom how people could sing our national anthem, recite our pledge, and not be patriotic. So maybe we need to do better in K through 12 schools to ensure that our students are exposed to this, and
Right.
They have the tools to be, how to be patriotic, because the only kids who aren't as patriotic in their country are mostly Americans. Everybody else loves their own country.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Romero.
How would you deal with genocide and those kind of large concepts? Because we certainly have it. World War II, we had it when settlers first came to this nation.
Right.
There was a pretty massive genocide of Native Americans. So where would that fit into your timeline? Where would we introduce that?
So, like I said, I'm not really an expert to where to place it. I do understand policy, but I would think for a discussion like that, high school, and definitely genocide also ties into assimilation and border security, right? I think that's also something where the natives, we check for communicable diseases. Genocide also was a part of that. They brought the measles and smallpox, and how that ties into modern day as well. But also understanding what the definition of genocide means. I think that's been taken out of context. Genocide means you have intent to take out a certain group of people. And I think that does tie into modern day. And it's really been taken out of context, I think, even with modern day journalism of what that definition is. So just really understanding what that definition is and not just applying it to the Holocaust or to what's going on in the Middle East today, but also, there's so many times in history where you can really apply that, whether that's China under Genghis Khan, whether that's, like you said, like during the Native American period.
Member Hall.
Thank you for being here with us today. I really appreciate it. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And I think these are some really great points that you're making. I really didn't have a question for you, but I just wanted to say thank you for being here on your birthday and raising some really important issues that I think we should take a serious look at.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
To the chair.
Member Reveles.
Hi, thank you for being here. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And I share your concern about the rise in anti-Semitism in this country. I think that's alarming, and we need to deal with that. But I'm also concerned with some of the approaches you suggest here, and I fully admire your intent to not make this into anti-Muslim or anti-Islam. But I feel the long term, given the tone that we see here, is that it will create that atmosphere. So I'm just really concerned about that as well. And also the border part of it, as someone who actually lives on the border, I'm in El Paso, I think that we also need to be cautious about that as well because of the negative connotations that create for communities like the one I represent and live in, and making sure that we don't promote that notion of an unsafe border when there's millions of us living along the border and see it as a safe space to live, thrive, and learn.
Absolutely. And I think, this is a starting point, and I agree with you. For the term like Islamophobia, right? Phobia, the definition of that is an irrational fear. And I don't think we should have an irrational fear. I think Islamism is a rational fear based off of statistics, and how we define that and use our language with that is very important. As far as the border part of it, I think that people, if I'm going to take this in a political sense, people on the right, people on the left, people in the center don't really understand, like, what is the legal process? What does that even mean? Even I had to ask myself that 10 years ago. And I said, do I even understand what the legal process is? People will say, you're illegal, and they don't know what it means. Why do we have it? And just really understanding what that process is. Like, what does it take to become a citizen? Like, is there things that we could do better? So that way our students can critically think about it whenever they do go to vote or when they understand the border. And I think that would help with, racist connotations or these, conspiracy theories on the border or anything else that is there because they're listening to TikTok or journalists.
And I can appreciate an approach like that, yes.
Thank you.
Any further questions?